meeting. And our first speaker will be Peter Yango. Peter is a life coach who works with men who have become new fathers and husbands to create the family life that they want. Peter's speech is Project 2 from the Competent Communicator Manual. And you're doing Peter?
Yep.
LJ will be evaluating Peter. We don't have his manual here, so we can't read the objectives, but Project 2 is fairly early, so do you remember what the topic was?
It's something like outlining.
Oh, so it's the organization.
Organization.
Okay, so he's going to concentrate on his organization. The title is Barriers to Success. Please welcome Peter Yango.
First off, before I actually begin my speech, for those of you who don't know, I had a friend who was hurt in the bombing in Boston. And I missed my opportunity to give the speech about 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. And I want to thank the people who wrote emails to me for him. He's doing fine. He's recovering. He's going to need a couple more surgeries. He's going to need some skin graft surgeries, and he has some nerve damage. But by the grace of God, him and his 2 daughters are alive and well, and they're doing just fine. So thank you very much for that. So let me begin. Okay, so I'm going to use some new technology too, so bear with me. So my speech is called The Barriers to Success. So how great would it be if you could remove all of your negative thoughts? Pretty awesome, right? Well, today I'm going to share with you the first step to doing that by describing what those thoughts actually are. Because in my opinion, you need to know what you're thinking before you can change how you're thinking. So during my coaching certification program, we learned about the barriers to success. And this was one of the most impactful lessons that we got as coaches. And let me explain to you kind of what they are. These barriers to success, they're energy blocks, and they prevent you from accessing your highest creative energy and inhibit you from tapping into your true power. Now, let me explain how this works. See, the body is an energy system. It's a self-governed system, but it's thought-affected. So it seeks to always maintain an energy level in a healthy range. However, every thought we have affects our system. And when we produce negative or unhealthy thoughts or undesired thoughts, they have a result in our body and the actions that we take. So these barriers I'm going to describe to you create negative thoughts. And I also call them splinter thoughts, and I'll explain to you why in a moment. They distract you from the energy you need to accomplish anything you want in life. And let me give you an example. And if you can humor me for a second, imagine a beautiful day, your perfect day, right? Maybe on the beach, enjoying time with your friends and family, and you're walking along the beach, and you get a splinter in your foot. And you don't have the paraphernalia to move it right away, and you end up walking throughout the rest of that day with that splinter in your foot. What does that do to your perfectly beautiful day? It's pretty distracting, right? You know, you're walking around and you can't notice the beautiful day in front of you. That's what these negative thoughts, these barriers to success are. So I'm going to go through an acronym for you to help explain this. It's called GAILE. G-A-I-L-E. Gremlins, assumptions, interpretations, limiting beliefs, and external beliefs. Now I'm going to work from the outside in, because that's how coaches do it. We work from the outside in with our clients. But I'm going to start with E, external blocks. Now, external blocks are just that. They're something that's outside of our control. And they're easy to blame because we lose power the minute we start thinking about them. Imagine, you keep blaming the economy on you not finding the job, a lack of resources, a lack of money, your geography, and if there's something that you want to do where you live, a physical impairment. Now, these beliefs are easy to challenge depending on your enthusiasm, determination, and proof you can find others who have actually overcome them. See, the answers are actually there. It's pursuing the answers where we have the difficulty. And for those of us who become paralyzed by these external blocks, it's usually the internal barriers that get in the way of actually pursuing the answers to these external blocks. So the inner blocks are produced within us, and they are a direct result of what we experience and learn throughout our lives. And I'll start with the first one, which is L, a limiting belief. See, these are general beliefs you have about the world, your environment, situation, and the people around you that stand in your way. See, this is something that was most likely handed down to you by some type of authority figure or a societal conventional wisdom, and you just adopted them as true. It was in your family, you adopted them as true. One example for myself, Asians are too short to play pro basketball. True, possibly, but what if you really wanted to play pro basketball and you're of the Asian community? Are you going to let that limiting belief get in your way? People like us don't go to Ivy League schools. Pretty difficult to get through that if your family believes that. And pretty typically, racist generalizations that we come across are limiting beliefs that if you fall in love with somebody of a different race, if someone in your family or friends that you love most, it might be very difficult for you if you have these limiting beliefs. So the next one. Now, I'd like you to imagine something for me with this next one. It's interpretations. Now, if you would mind humoring me and closing your eyes for a second. Now, you go into a crowded mall. You see your best friend, and you try to get her attention. You start to wave to her, trying to get her attention. And she catches your eye. You make eye contact, and you're about to reach out to her, and all of a sudden she looks down, does a 180, and walks away from you. Now go ahead and open your eyes. What just happened? How did you interpret what just happened? See, interpretations is a barrier built on a false story. When you interpret something, you give an opinion about an event, situation, personality, or life experience without really knowing the whole story. So, what opinion did you create in this particular scenario? Was it about you, or was it about the situation? Is she mad at me? What were some of the things that went through your mind when you thought about this particular scenario? See, one of the most common people that are susceptible is children. So they go through the dynamic not really understanding certain situations. Mom's on the phone and she yells at you to get away from me. That must mean Mommy doesn't love me. It's an interpretation, but it's not the truth. So you can understand how people can kind of get muddled with these types of interpretations. Now the next one, assumptions. A. Believing that because something happened in the past, it's going to happen again. Our guest made a perfect example of that. She had a moment where she had a difficult situation in public speaking, and now she's trying to overcome that again. But she experienced it. The deep emotion that she was affected by in that moment made her assume that if she does this again, it could happen again. Very difficult to remove. Now, but that's just one example. But we're all here trying to overcome these types of barriers. So I commend you for even coming over here. Thank you very much. But other examples of that is, besides public speaking, asking somebody out and being rejected. We never ask somebody out again. Almost drowning while learning how to swim. We never try to learn how to swim. The Boston Marathon, perfect example. Running in the Boston Marathon, you may never want to run the marathon again, even if you love it. How would that affect your life? And these particular assumptions, you're assuming it's going to happen exactly that way. But I always like to say to the people who are going through that, how true is that exactly? So think about that as you start to have your assumptions. Now, the last one, but certainly not least, is the gremlin, or our inner critic, G. See, your gremlin tells you not to try, never take a risk, always play it safe, and compromise your life by playing small. The message from these annoying little warnings is that you're just not good enough. See, the gremlin was created by us because we experienced these other three internal blocks. It's protecting us from these particular types of scenarios, but unfortunately it believes, interprets, and assumes everything is a threat, even when you don't want it to be. So it's overworking. And one of the tricks for coaches for utilizing the gremlin is changing its job and making it support you. But it takes some work. So, in closing, removing these thoughts takes persistence and awareness. And there are several techniques for removing these splinter thoughts from your life that are extremely successful, and I've used them with a lot of different clients. But I have found that just becoming aware of them helps tremendously. So my question to the group is, how do these barriers show up in your life? Start to become aware of what triggers them, what in the moment triggers them. It's the first step to learning how to choose a different thought. So you have to know that it's happening before you can choose to think something differently. So, thank you very much for your time. And if you want to learn more about this, please feel free to talk to me, and I'd love to help you out. Thank you very much.